Hey everyone, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And I'm very pleased to have with me today Mark Vange of Autom8ly. Mark, thank you for joining me today.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, congratulations on joining the Cloud Communications Alliance. And almost at the same time, you've also launched a fully interactive voice agent. So it's been a big couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, the end of 24, the start of 25, the holiday season was very busy for us. But we're very excited to have joined the CCA. We're very grateful to have become members, and yeah, we're very excited launching our first few voice agent customers.
So, we're going to dive into all the particulars and so on in your announcement. First of all, what is Autom8ly?
At Autom8ly, we work on bringing AI solutions to real businesses to solve, real problems. Of course, we've all been hearing about AI and ChatGPT and all of these kinds of things, but when it comes to actually providing solutions and actually solving real problems, there's a lot of difficulties where the rubber hits the road. Everything from so-called hallucinations, where AIs are really trying to please the person asking the question more than being focused on providing the so-called right answer, to issues of compliance and reliability and privacy and PCI and PII and all that kind of stuff. So trying to understand how to address the real world needs of real clients who are trying to deploy these solutions. And when we have very large corporate entities that can spend hundreds of millions of dollars on implementing these systems, of course, they have that kind of capability in-house. But we focus on companies that are maybe sub $1 billion in revenue, that don't have the depth or don't have the budget to really bring this stuff in-house completely, but still need to implement these sorts of systems to be competitive.
And, it's exciting, first of all, to have an AI company like yours joining the Cloud Communications Alliance. It seems very timely. I think it seems like you guys are bringing out the type of technologies many of the members and many of the companies surrounding the CCA are interested in.
Yeah, telephony and communications in general is, of course, the primary mode of delivery for these services. And yet the CCA was without a member that kind of specializes in this area. So we're hoping to be able to bring some knowledge and some know-how to the CCA membership, and we're very much looking forward to meeting folks over the coming months and years and collaborating on some solutions for their customers.
Let's dive into your news about your interactive voice agent.
Sure, thank you. So for the last year or so, we have been offering a product called SalesGenii, and what SalesGenii is essentially a bot, or I'm sorry, a voice agent or an agent, a web agent that learns all about your products, learns all about your business, and then provides that information to visitors. And it could be as simple as answering questions about your locations or your service terms or your products, but we also have customers that take orders online. So for instance, we had a customer that was in the restaurant grease recycling business, and restaurants generally decide that they need to recycle 2 o'clock in the morning when they're shutting down and closing up shop. So they needed to have salespeople on the phone between midnight and 4 a.m. every day answering phones to take these orders. Well, we could replace that with a SalesGenii that's available 24/7. These guys no longer have to sit by the phone midnight to 4 hoping for a call. They can come in at 9 o'clock in the morning, take all of the orders, schedule them, and becomes a much better life experience for them while still providing great experience for their end users. SalesGenii was primarily a web-based interface, and we had many customers ask us about providing that same kind of experience via voice. So we're very excited to announce PhoneGenii, which is a real-time phone voice agent that can have the same kind of conversation and can provide the service that your customers need. And with that, we can serve everything from collections and the sort of outbound calling on the one hand to customer support, customer service, technical support, issue handling, all of that stuff, all the way through to outbound sales calls. The PhoneGeniis are trained on our customers' materials and are provided their task, and just like training a human agent, are then put to work. We have QA processes to make sure that they are saying the right things at the right time, and over time we get them to where they can handle all of the mundane tasks and let your human staff focus on the 5% of the calls that represent the 95% of your revenue, or that represent the most complex or novel cases.
Now, I understand that with these different products you're talking about, you're taking advantage of AI's ability to do things like multilingual service, monitoring workflows, that type of thing?
Absolutely, yes. We have the ability to carry on conversations in multiple languages. There's also some kind of soft things that are not obvious when you start using these things. You notice that the agents never lose their cool, for example, right? So we have some customers in the collections business, and as you know, it's a very tough business. Most of the time people are either lying to you or they're angry at you, and it's hard for the agents to stay empathetic and to get ongoing good outcomes without constant training and constant sort of resetting. Whereas it doesn't matter how rude you are to an AI agent, it will always be effusively cooperative, and it will always say the right thing. In some of our early experiments, we're also finding that in collections in particular, we're getting better outcomes. And my personal theory, although I have no real science to back this yet, is that people feel less embarrassed when they are talked to by a machine rather than by another person, and they just want to get it settled and move on. So that's some of the early indications that we're seeing, which is kind of an interesting sideline.
And I also understand that you're working closely with the CCA on product innovation.
Yes, absolutely. We are actually working with the CCA to provide the CCA membership with a better lead generation by building a system that will speak with or chat with visitors to the CCA website and try to gather their requirements and select the right 2 or 3 CCA members to send those leads to in a fully qualified way that make sure that we align the needs with the capabilities of those members.
So does that mean that what you're developing with the CCA and to help the CCA, would that actually be something that could be applied in other places?
Absolutely. There is a misconception maybe that AIs can only do what we have explicitly taught them to do, in the sense of rinse and repeat. But what we are finding in a lot of our work is when we build them the right way and give them the right instructions, they can actually find diamonds in the coals, in the terms of being able to identify opportunities that perhaps weren't obvious, or maybe the customer didn't even know that they were looking for, and kind of channel that opportunity and develop it in conversation with the caller.
Now, Mark, I also understand you've got some slides with you today just to give us a bit of an overview about this.
Yes, I would be very happy to show you those. One of the things that I think really sets us apart from some of the other service providers is our approach to this solution. I myself have been a technologist for many, many years. I've built and sold several technology companies over the years. I've been a chief technology officer at some large public companies. So I have maybe more of an awareness of the issues that real companies face than some other folks who are maybe more steeped in the technology, but maybe less in the business operations. So we have a methodology to engage with our clients that focuses on results and on kind of measurable results. So when we come to work with a customer, we sort of have a three-legged approach. The first leg is really around understanding what their business needs and selecting a high-value target for what to automate first. Most businesses have many, many options in terms of where they should spend those dollars. So we want to make sure that when we do bring technology to bear on any problem, including this AI problem, that we pick the highest value things first. Once we've identified the process that we want to target, we work with the client to identify what we call the eye of the needle. What is the element of this solution that all of the various complex possible branches pass through? And typically there is, in any business process, lots of information gathering, lots of engagement, and then there's that one thing, typically your kind of core capability, your core knowledge that everything must pass through, and then it kind of flows out for there in terms of outcomes. So we always work with our clients to try to identify this eye of the needle, the thing that would generate the most value from automating in this particular problem domain. And then for that eye of the needle problem, we start defining the tasks. What are the objectives of the agent? Is it to automate some of the more mundane tasks? Is it to cost reduce or to accelerate the opportunities, right? Different tasks will have different goals. And then once we've defined that objective, we spend time trying to understand what are the controls on those processes and how do we audit those processes. Because what we believe is very important is to make sure that we have a mechanism in place always to monitor and improve the AI agent quality so that our level of confidence can increase over time. And then the amount of trust or the amount of independence that we can give these AI agents is then commensurate with the level of trust that we have gained in those agents. And that's something that we can measure and demonstrate rather than hoping for the best. So once we've kind of identified what we want to do, what are the specific tasks, and how we will monitor and audit the results, then we go to the second leg, which is what is the data? How do we train it? What is the right model to use? And by model in this case, I mean the language model, the AI model. Is it OpenAI's models? Is it Google's models? Right? And there's often important trade-offs in terms of accuracy, speed, and cost. And depending on the application, obviously, picking the right path is important. And then finally, once we identified what the data is, and once we identified what the model is, then we go through and actually train and do what you might think of as the building of the AI. And then the final leg is equally important. When we've built the AI, the work is really just beginning. Then we have to spend a lot of time and energy to test and validate, making sure that the AI is performing as expected, making sure that the outcomes are what they should be, making sure that our controls and measurements are working correctly and reporting the right outcomes. Once we have that in place, then we deploy and we iterate. So we look at our reports, we look at the monitoring, and then we cycle what we learned back into the model so that we can improve our level of confidence with that model. And that is kind of the cycle that we go through and that we find is most valuable. And it is very analogous to bringing on board a new employee or a new agent in the real world, right? You might have that person sit next to an existing employee and monitor for them for a while. Basically, what you're doing is you're training the model. Then you might have them start answering some calls. A supervisor might sit next to them and audit them on a kind of a continuous basis to make sure they're doing the right things. And then as they mature and join your team on a full-time kind of wholehearted basis, then you will periodically look in and make sure they're still saying and doing the right things. Our approach to the AI agents is very similar, with the exception that we have 100% QA. We're looking after every call. We're making sure that these things are always saying the right things. And so we can iterate and improve these very quickly in a measurable way that can then be folded back into deciding how much autonomy and what percentage of the inbound calls and what complexity of the calls the AI agent will respond to, as opposed to the existing human staff. We basically are trying to work with our clients to identify and solve for their bottlenecks, whether those are around maintaining high levels of compliance, whether that is around improving their relationship with the customers or their clients, or whether it's around kind of fighting fire with fire and bringing AI to bear on fraud and other negative risks that bad actors are now employing AI for, and that we can counter with the right kinds of AI.
Well, Mark, I really want to thank you for joining me today. This has been very interesting in giving us a big overview of Autom8ly, and also some of the innovations you're bringing onto market right now. Very timely. I'm very excited that you've joined the Cloud Communications Alliance. It's really exciting to see AI-focused companies come in and sort of merge the worlds, like you said before, of the AI world and the telecoms world in a very practical way on really products that I think actually many of our channel partner friends and MSP friends are going to want to sell. Where can we learn more about Autom8ly?
Of course, our website, autom8ly.com, with the 8 there. And also you can find us on the CCA pages now. So easy to find.
That's right. Don't miss it on the CCA pages. Don't miss it on the CCA Cloud Bulletin. And from now on, a proud member of the CCA. Mark, thank you very much indeed for joining me today.
Thank you.